Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Groove at the Grove. Do I got the mic on right? I thought I had it on here. Test, test. There we go. Okay. Again, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Groove at the Grove here at Park Grove Community Church. I'm Reverend Andy Campbell, the Deadhead Rev, and I hope you enjoyed the small but faithful crowd who's here today for our drum circle. We welcome you to join with us wherever you are today. If you've got some sort of rhythm instrument at home, if you just want to slap your knees as we make noise together, as we make a joyful noise together. The fifth Sunday of every month, which happens 4 times a year, is when we will have the drum circle. So this is our first occasion to have the drum circle as a part of the Groove at the Grove, and we welcome you to it. I want to begin by reading a poem for you all, if you would. I grew up in Indiana, and the probably poet laureate of the state of Indiana was a man named James Whitcomb Riley, and I never know if anybody else outside of Indiana knows who he is, but he was definitely the most famous poet who ever lived in the Hoosier state, and wrote many poems, often in the language vernacular of Hoosier frontier people. And I thought one particular poem really stood out for me that I thought fit in with what we do here. And it was a poem called The Old Guitar. And if you will bear with me for a minute while I give this just a brief reading. I'm going to have to use something to brighten this up. I can't hardly see this at all, so if I may. A phone light, if somebody's got one. Yeah, it's, getting old here is just absolutely terrible, you know. Neglected now is the old guitar, and moldering into decay, fretted with many a riff and scar, that the dull tears fades away, while the spider spins another year around its lips today. The keys hold very seamless strings, and some of brave old airs are pulsed now, and the scarf that dings so closely here declares a sad regret in the ravelings and the failed hue it wears. But the old guitar, with a lenient grace, has cherished a smile for me, and features hint of a fairer face that comes with a memory of a flower and perfume haunted place and a moonlit balcony. Music sweeter than words confess are the minstrel's powers invert, thrilled here once as the light caress or the fairy hands that lent. The extruse for the kiss I press, or the dear old instrument. Let us continue with our drum circle today.
If you'd like to come up and join us, that'd be great.
Yeah, come on up.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like. Hey. Hey. You want to actually lead this little part?
Oh, no.
Teresa, you want to?
Oh.
This is my third time being here at the drum circle.
There you go.
What are you doing? Making us a little.
Yeah, I'm.
Okay. Be good next year.
rhythmic, beating, pounding, echoing, resonating, intoxicating, transporting, haunting, drum circle. Snap your fingers, knock your knees, clap your hands, if you please. Bounce and rattle, whistle and trill. Kick your feet high, don't take a spill. Fiddlers fiddle, drummers drum. Keep them a whirlin', rub a tum-tum. So I'll have one more and then we'll let Andy get back up here. Pounding of the sun, pounding of the storm, drummers on trees, freeze the moment of unusuality. Stream of arousal, stream of hot rays, stunning silence, freeze the moment of tranquility. Heed transient thunder, heed its late arrival. Ringing out rain, freeze the moment of instability.
If you will indulge me, I have another poem. Have I got that on again or no?
Flip the switch.
Let's try that again.
Yeah, flip it.
Is that on now or no? Or trying it there? Hello? 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 Test, test, test. I'm ready for this one. Use this one.
Yeah, use that one.
Technology is just a wonderful thing. So, I found another poem that I thought, in light of reading something prophetic today, would kind of stand on its own. And it's a poem called The New Colossus. Is anybody familiar with it? You may be when I get done. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air bridge harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she. With silent lips, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. With the events yesterday that happened in our nation, we saw millions and millions of neighbors in the streets protesting what was called a No Kings Saturday, a No Kings Day. And I want to just point out that the calendar led to a event where no kings and people were marching on the streets, but yet today is Palm Sunday in the life of the Christian church, in the life of those who follow Jesus. It is a holy day. And the prophetic voice I will give you about this day and its significance is that today in
the holy city where the march into Jerusalem, the first Palm Sunday, took place, the authorities saw to it that the Catholic Church could not go and do that. And it's because of war, and it's because of the threat of violence. We have to point out that we can talk all we want about religious freedom here, but when we are creating a situation where religious freedom doesn't even exist in the Holy Lands, the place where the three major Western religions come from, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, if it's not free in those places, then where is religion free? We need to wake up to the fact that we don't want to be the ones who discourage anyone from practicing their faith as long as it doesn't harm others. And what was happening in Jerusalem, those who wanted to recreate the historic march of Jesus into the holy city, no harm was intended. Let us continue to look at ourselves and examine ourselves and see the ancient stories and look at them and find our place and pray that we aren't the ones who oppress others, that we are not the ones who deny others the freedoms that we enjoy ourselves. Now I'd like to ask, is our drum circle ready to treat us to another bit, or should I?
We are ready. We are going to upgrade.
We're upgrading the drum circle.
The ultimate drum circle device.
Thank you so much.
to the drum, talking to the dance. Listen to the elders whispering their chants. Listen to the hooves pounding on the plain. Listen to the birds prophesizing rain. Listen to the moon, time to plant the grain. Listen to the tales told around the fire. Listen to the breeze and the clouds conspire. Listen for the buffalo, warn of dreadful days. Listen, the Great Spirit speaks in many ways. Listen for the eagle calling from the sky. Listen for the drum, hear a mournful sigh. Doing what they love, all are welcome to try. Rhythms of passion fly in the night sky. Up and down the maddening notes dance. Many drink and sing as drummers are in a trance. Seducing beats are the soul of the medieval camp. Drummers are no paradigm, you know, sometimes changing 4 to 2 time. Like poets' words, whether free or rhyme, can make writing a crafty crime. Drummers' beats, dancers' feats, poet license, guitar licks, needle holes. Take 5 with threads sewn in the cabaret. In the heat of the moment, coin tossed, flip side of a record, hearts can easily, wrongly, dizzily be played.
Do we want to try this wireless again? Give it a shot. See if it's on there or not, or tell me when to turn it on.
Go ahead.
All right, we'll see if that works at all. Try it again. Hey, how about that? We've got the microphone. Peter, you can come and read poetry all the time. Did we all say goodbye to Andrea? Bye-bye. I want to read one short poem, and I'm not sure. I'm going to just assume that Jerry and Robert Hunter wrote it, and I was telling somebody today that Jerry Garcia has a song for today, and it's on the Cats Under the Stars album, called Palm Sunday, and it's only about a 90-second to 2-minute song, and the lyrics are just simply, the river's so white, the mountains so red, and with the sunshine over my head, the honky-tonks are all closed and hushed. It looks like Palm Sunday again. It looks like Palm Sunday again. It looks like Palm Sunday again. And this is from Luke's Gospel. When he had come near Bethpage and Bethany, at the place called the Mount of Olives, he sent 2 of the disciples, saying, "Go into the village ahead of you, and as you enter it, you will find tied there a colt that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, 'Why are you untying it?' just say this, 'The Lord needs it.'" So those who were sent departed and found it as they had told him, and they were untying the colt. Its owners asked them, "Why are you untying the colt?" They said, "The Lord needs it." Then they brought it to Jesus, and after throwing their cloaks on the colt, they set Jesus on it. As he rode along, people kept spreading their cloaks on the road. As he was now approaching the path down from the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of the disciples began to praise God joyfully with a loud voice for all the deeds of power they had seen, saying, "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord, peace in heaven and glory in the highest heaven." Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, order your disciples to stop." He answered, "I tell you, if these were silent, the stones would shout out." May our Creator bless the reading of this word. I have to say that as a minister in the church for so many years, this Sunday was probably my favorite. I love Palm Sunday. Everybody was pretty happy. They knew that it wasn't going to be as absolutely packed at church as it was the following week, next week being Easter. But it was a good time where it was still a good crowd, and you had a procession and you had a parade. Aren't parades awesome? I mean, really think about it. I mean, parades are pretty cool things when you think about it. You have seen on Thanksgiving the Macy's parade, and you've seen all of your favorite cartoon animals, and don't act like you didn't think it was fun if it was Garfield or Charlie Brown, those giant balloons, and we watched it on TV. First of the year, the Tournament of Roses parade, and the beauty and the artistry of putting together those beautiful floats, all made out of flowers. Kind of amazing to look at. We have all kinds of different parades. I never realized, how big the Indianapolis 500 parade was until I moved away from there. I know that, high schools across the country have their homecoming parades. And I know there was a tragic parade in Stillwater years ago, I do believe, during a homecoming, or at least during a football weekend. I grew up in one of those neighborhoods that it was enclosed enough that, there was one road that led in and out of the neighborhood. And on the 4th of July, we had parades. The ladies had contests to see which family had the best float. And my mother was as competitive as anybody. She wanted to make sure that we won as many prizes as possible. And so she'd spend her time making paper mache heads for us to wear. We had one year where we were all dressed up as Peanuts characters. Parades are great. They're fun. But sometimes they're not always that fun. Where do parades come from? You understand that the parade was not always a celebration of 4th of July or the football game in Pasadena, that the origins of the parade were to show off that you better obey what we're doing. See, the origin of the parade is a military parade. If you look at a military base, what's that big area out in front? It's called the parade grounds. The parade was a way to show those who were watching that those marching were to be taken seriously, were to be respected. The crisp uniforms, the weaponry. You think back to the time of Jesus, and you'd have the Roman centurions and their chariots and the horses, and we've seen enough of the movies to know what it looks like to have something like that. And indeed, that's what was happening in Jerusalem during the time I'm reading about. You see, there was a parade happening, but not the one I just described. There was a parade on the other end of town. The governor was coming in, you see. Pilate was coming in, and it wasn't unusual for Roman authorities to beef up security because it was the Passover. This was a time where they'd had trouble with these unruly Jewish people before, and they wanted to make sure that there was no trouble because they'd had trouble before. These people just didn't have the respect for the Roman authority that they needed to have, and so we're going to march in our military might. So on one end of the town, you have the people watching as Rome marches in to the ancient city of Jerusalem. See the vision of that parade? We've seen those parades before, haven't we? Even in modern times. Usually we associate them with pointing to some dictatorship, showing off missiles and having tanks rolling down the street. I guess it's come closer to home more recently. But that's the same type of parade that was taking place in Jerusalem. And on the other side of town, we have Jesus. Sometimes we like to say that, you shouldn't have politics in the church, but I want to tell you that what Jesus does in this story, his direction, at his request, and knowing what will happen, is a direct contradiction. It shows the alternative to what's taking place on the other side of town. As the Romans march in on their giant steeds, he rides in on a donkey. As they have these beautiful saddle and the weaponry, they have cloaks over the donkey. As they have the crowds at the other end of town looking on scared at the weaponry, the crowds watching Jesus are praising God and shouting about peace. On one hand, you have the military show of force. On the other, you have what is known as the Prince of Peace. When we look at what was taking place in the holy city of that time and the circumstances they were in, they were an occupied people. They were under authority of a distant land. We can't say that Jesus was unaware of these circumstances in which he grew up and the circumstances where he saw what was happening with the might of the Roman authorities. And also what helped the Roman authorities was the complicity of the temple authorities, because they did it for their safety. They went along so they could keep going. Sometimes you get along if you go along. So do you see what happens here? Do you see these two different images of one person riding in bringing peace from the Mount of Olives, the other coming in from another gate in the city, maybe the Damascus gate, and showing that military force that they'd seen so many times before? Jesus is making a statement. Jesus is making a statement, and it's a statement that preceded him, and that's why the crowds were waiting for him. It's why they were so happy that he had come. They'd heard the tales that this was somebody new. They were waiting for a change. They were waiting for someone to challenge the Roman authority, and they felt that this was the man. This was their hope. This was their salvation. This was their return to being stewards of their own land in Israel. We know it doesn't work out that great. But I'd always hoped that maybe this was the moment, and it was the hope that I held out every Palm Sunday, that maybe in a history machine and rewriting things, that maybe that would be the day that the eyes would be opened, that people would begin to understand and to see the truth of what Jesus came for. Not to be a warrior rebelling and fighting violently against the Roman authorities, but bringing a message of peace that when people understood it, everyone laid down their arms. Wouldn't that have been a better ending? Wouldn't that be the triumph of God in our lifetime? Is that we all laid down our arms and said, yes, we should love one another with all our heart, mind, and soul, that we should love God, we should love ourselves, that we should take care of the widow and the orphan. All of these messages of Jesus, all of his teaching. Would have been a better story, wouldn't it? I wish today was the day that the best story was told. That's hard work, isn't it? Laying down your arms when you're so used to having them in your hands and giving up the security that you felt, Sometimes, if you think that letting go of the training wheels, you're going to fall, you're never going to get rid of them. And this maybe is the reason why the Romans were able to maintain their authority. They were a sense of safety and security. Or were they? You know, we hear the crowds cheering for Jesus. We hear them praising him. And in fact, I love the fact that the Pharisees, the temple authorities, said, "Get these people to shut up." And he says, "Even the stones are going to shout." Maybe that's a good Rolling Stones kind of reference if I could make one. But I think about the song "Going Down the Road Feeling Bad" a little bit. Going where the climate suits my clothes. You see, this thing was the culmination of everything Jesus was doing. It's way back in this Gospel of Luke where we read that Jesus set his face toward Jerusalem. And there were miracles, there were stories, there were teachings, everything along the way. But now we're finally here to this moment and it all comes to a head. And what's our place in it? What do we do in light of this idea that Jesus came for peace in opposition to war on the other side? How do we do that in light of yesterday that people were out across our nation saying that we had no kings? And our scripture today called Jesus the King. I think the no kings thing, we know who that was aimed at. I think that was aimed at Pennsylvania Avenue and not the city of Jerusalem. But where is our place? What are we to do? You know, I've heard it said that people can be inspired to, when they hear Jesus and when they finally follow along, that, you know, they're willing to do just about anything, you know. And when you decide that you're going to pick up the cross, when you're going to fight for what is right, when you're going to be a justice warrior, you want to volunteer to do something. You ever heard somebody say that? I need to get involved. You know, that's the cry from yesterday after the no kings thing. And I think we all want to know after yesterday, now what, right? What do we do after that? And after somebody hears this message of Jesus and the parade is over and people are cleaning up the palm leaves and we know how the rest of the week is going to go, what do we do? What is being asked of us? Do you have to run for office? That could be a possibility. Do you have to go get people to register to vote in the next elections? I think that would be a great thing. Do you have to talk to your neighbors? Do you have to talk to people about what's going on? I think that is fantastic. Do you have to get thousands and thousands of dollars donated to the right candidates so they can be advertised on television and radio and get all the yard signs out there? If you've got the means, by all means, do so. But sometimes we're going to be asked to do things that we may be surprised that can make a difference. Jesus does something at the beginning of this story that I think may be a surprise if it was asked of you. Because sometimes if you go up to Jesus and say, I'll follow you, I'll do whatever you ask of me, please give me the assignment. And sometimes the assignment may be, I need you to go in town and borrow a jackass. There's no glory in that. Sometimes that's what you got to do. If sometimes we got to get a shovel and a broom to bring about a peaceful world, then maybe that's what we have to do. So don't deny anything as a possibility of how you can make a difference, about how you can help to stem the tide of what has been happening in our nation, of what has been happening with our neighbors not feeling safe, of people not being allowed to love who they love or identify how they are, or to even worship as they would like. We have a long way to go to bring about the world of Palm Sunday, the place where people listen to the message of peace and reject that of war. And in the same turn, we have a long way to go to realize what is the ideal of what America could be, the nation where we live. We still have a lot of work to do, where everyone can enjoy life, liberty, happiness, and the pursuit of it, but most of all, life. Life as individuals, but life in community. Blessed be those who work for peace in the world. Blessed be those who reject the instruments of war. Blessed be those who reject hatred and bigotry. And blessed be those who make the world a better place. Let us find our rhythm as our drum circle begins again.
that we all go the distance, but we don't know how. Running around in circles like a bunch of comic Urkels. The dinosaur is purple, but we don't know why. What are we becoming? The music starts humming. The drummers are all drumming, but we don't know where. Soon it will be over, lying in the clover next to an old friend Rover, but we don't know when. never saw a purple cow. I never hoped to see one. But I can tell you anyhow, I'd rather see than be one. Midnight rain has found me still and staring from my windowsill upon gray skies and slickened streets on which chaotic drummers beat. I close my eyes and things I've seen are played in rhythm back to me. As droplets once so deathly still begin to drench my soul to fill, and memories of days gone by made bright beneath the lightning sky return to smile again once more until the raindrops cease to pour. Sure don't know what I'm going for, but I'm gonna go for it for sure. Sure don't know what I'm going for, but I'm gonna go for it for sure. We'll go for a big crescendo, close it out. Rudy, you want to close this out?
Thank you for being with us here today. The drum circle was awesome. Plenty of food here still. Thank you to everybody in the sound booth for taking care of us. We will see you next week on Easter Sunday at 2 o'clock at Groove at the Grove.